Welcome back here to Mountain Connections. I'm really excited to have our next guest with us. His name is Mr. Chris Cochella. He is a two-times company founder, but now he's shifted his focus into coaching other entrepreneurs and how to better their business with his business, the Sequoia Group. And today we're going to be talking about leadership skills in business, which are very, very important. Mr. Chris Cochella, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great, Diego. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. Thank you so very much for coming on. Always a pleasure to have you up here and share your expertise. So before we get started, leadership is defined in so many ways, and there's a lot of information about leadership. But in your eyes and in your opinion, what makes and constitutes a good leader?
Well, I like to keep things simple. And the quote from Lao Tzu about leadership of to lead people, walk behind them.
I love that.
And that can mean lots of things as well. But for me, it means creating the environment and the conditions for other people to grow and excel. And from that, you get both personal satisfaction in people's lives, and you get more impact to a business at the same time, and both can grow together.
I like that. I think there's a misconception that leadership is all about the individual, right? But you kind of said exactly the opposite. Leadership is about being able to put your skills behind a group of people and get the best of them to shine out of that, which is a huge, important thing. And it's big for any leader. So really it's about cultivating the very best players on your team, I guess you could say.
Yeah, cultivating the best players and also cultivating the environment in which they can excel and excel together to go in the same direction. That's
fantastic. And what happens when that culture of cohesiveness maybe isn't in play?
Yeah, well, let's take a slightly different view. When it's not in play, A players, top people are going in the directions they choose, and they're often in slightly different directions. So you can imagine being pulled apart by your arms and legs, right? Lots is happening, but you're not going anywhere. When they do line up, then all of that effort heads in one direction. We talk about alignment, and that's where things really hum along.
That's fantastic. So as you said, when A players are kind of focused on their own projects or doing their own things, it can be going in a lot of different directions. The company can be kind of maybe off goal. Whereas if everyone's focused on one thing, you're really effective in getting your goal setting and goal accomplishments done, which is a fantastic thing. What are some ways that businesses can kind of cultivate that culture in their community?
Yeah, and I phrase that as alignment overall. And really it's listening to what people are saying. And it's establishing a clear vision for the business at the highest levels of leadership and ensuring that those elements of the vision, the measurements of success are known all the way through the organization and through to smaller teams to have alignment at all levels.
So even all the way down, almost like a macro level, having it top down, come all the way down, the same goals, the same goal setting is very important to be consistent throughout the whole company.
Correct.
That's fantastic. And what happens when there is that alignment, when you do have everyone together? You can accomplish goals so much faster, but what else happens in terms of team building inside of the group?
Well, people work really well together. They're jazzed and excited about what they do. They want to stay because they see their efforts working alongside other people's efforts to have better outcomes, to see the business flourish. And what the evidence when you see that happening is not only the results in the business, but if you talk to everyone throughout the business, they have the same articulation of the goals and the measures of success. When that's not happening, you know that they're just not headed in the right direction, and there's a lot of conversations that aren't clear.
There could be a lot of confusion as well, which is obviously not going to allow a lot of productivity with the business. And when you are in a leadership position at a group or a business, what signs can you look towards to know if your groups are in alignment or maybe not in alignment?
Yeah, the best thing to look for, and this is some of what we do too, is asking questions and listening deeply to what people are talking about. Not only the conversations that are happening in the foreground of a business day to day that you do hear, but actually trying to explore or discover what conversations might be happening in the background, because those are the ones that are confusing. People don't quite know what's going on, so they're having these protected conversations. And if those can be brought to the surface, then leaders can acknowledge that, see it, and work to address that alignment and bring people closer together on the same goals.
So it seems like being a great leader is being great at listening, really, being able to address a wide array of problems, but really being able to sit down and listen to your team and address any of the issues that they may be having, even the small ones.
Yes, listening is critical. You don't hear people, you don't have open, honest, and trusting conversations if you can't listen and ask the right questions that go along with listening.
And if you feel like you can't be listened to, if you can't feel like you can address those problems, it's a difficult thing as well. I mean, if without that trust, you can't have the alignment that you're speaking of, because you need to be able to trust your team members, you need to be able to trust your managers or your leaders to know that you're going to be able to meet your goals and fulfill those.
Absolutely. Trust is a two-way street. John D. Rockefeller, the famous founder of Standard Oil, developed 10 habits of effective leadership, management, and business operation. And the first one, upon which all the others follow, is alignment of your leadership teams. And that signifies a trusting environment. And that's where people can say what they want to say, be honest about the progress, and work hard together to achieve better outcomes.
Fantastic. And Chris, where can people go to learn more about the Sequoia Group and what you guys do with your business coaching? Yeah,
sequoiagroup.co on the web, or my LinkedIn profile is the best way to get me.
Excellent. And you'll give advice to pretty much anyone who's in terms of an entrepreneur, whether they're a startup or whether they've been in business for 10 to 15 years.
Yeah, we work with startups, we work with small teams and larger organizations, and we've worked with leadership in those larger organizations to foster this element of alignment and trust and listening.
Excellent. Well, Chris, thank you so very much for coming on to Mountain Connections. As always, we appreciate your expertise.
You're welcome, Diego. Have a great day.
Thank you so very much. Be sure and check out the Sequoia Group at sequoiagroup.co, or you can head into their offices and get some information from Chris Cochella himself. They definitely have a lot of expertise to share. So thank you so very much to the Sequoia Group for coming on. We're going to continue with much more right here on Mountain Connections after this break. Stay tuned.